Mark, this table is for family. You can find a spot outside. My cousin laughed as the others grinned. The waiter dropped a $3,000 bill in front of me. I took a sip of my coffee and chuckled. They had no idea who was covering it tonight. I sat at the head of the long mahogany table, my fingers tracing the rim of a lukewarm espresso cup. Around me, the sound of silver clinking against porcelain felt like a countdown. My cousin Julian leaned back in his chair, his $2,000 suit stretching across his shoulders. He looked at me with a smirk that didn't reach his eyes. Mark, I think there's been a misunderstanding, he said, loud enough for the entire table to go silent. The extended family, a collection of aunts, uncles, and cousins who hadn't called me once during my 3 years of struggling, all looked up. This table is for family, Mark, Julian continued, his voice dripping with false concern. Success likes to be with success. You can probably find a spot outside on the patio. It's a nice night. The table erupted in low, jagged laughter. My Aunt Sarah didn't even look up from her lobster. My own brother just stared at his phone, embarrassed to even be seen sitting next to me. I didn't move. I didn't get angry. Anger is for people who still have something to prove. I'm fine right here, Julian, I said quietly. Don't be difficult, Julian sighed, shaking his head. Look at you. That hoodie is older than my car. This is a 5-star establishment. You're lowering the property value of the seating chart. Leave him alone, Julian, my sister whispered, though she didn't actually defend me. She just wanted the tension to go away. No, no, Julian laughed, winking at the group. He's a big boy. He knows how the world works. Winners inside, everyone else outside. I took a slow sip of my coffee. It was bitter. Perfect. I watched them for the next hour. I watched them order the vintage Cristal. I watched them order the Wagyu sliders and the truffle risotto. They ate like kings on a budget they didn't have, acting like the prestige of the restaurant was rubbing off on their bank accounts. Then, the mood shifted. The waiter approached, holding a silver tray with a single crisp slip of paper. He hesitated, looking at the group. Julian puffed out his chest. Just set it down, Leo. We're finished here. The waiter placed the bill in the center of the table. Total, $3,040.85. The silence that followed was heavy. Julian's smirk faltered. He cleared his throat and looked at his father. His father looked at Aunt Sarah. I thought you were picking this up, Julian, Aunt Sarah asked, her voice suddenly thin. Me? I paid for the drinks last Christmas, Julian snapped. I assumed we were splitting it, but I forgot my business card in the car. The panic started to set in. It's a specific kind of smell. The smell of people who live beyond their means. Finally hitting a wall. I can't do $400 tonight, my brother muttered. I have the mortgage due. The waiter stood there, his face a mask of professional boredom. How will we be settling this, gentlemen? Julian looked at me. It was a look of pure, desperate malice. Mark, contribute something. You've been sitting there like a statue all night. I leaned back and chuckled. It wasn't a loud laugh. It was the sound of a predator watching a trap spring. I'm just a guy in an old hoodie, Julian, I said. I wouldn't want to lower the property value of your credit score. Don't be a prick, Julian hissed, leaning in. Just help us out. We're family. Family? I asked. The family that belongs at this table? Or the one that belongs outside? I stood up. The chair scraped against the marble floor like a gunshot. I walked over to the waiter. The bill, I said. Julian looked relieved. Thank God. I'll Venmo you, man. Seriously. I didn't look at him. I took the bill from the waiter's hand and didn't even glance at the total. I reached into my pocket and pulled out a black card. Not a standard one. The kind that doesn't have a limit because the bank knows you own the street the restaurant is built on. The waiter's eyes widened. He bowed slightly, his entire demeanor shifting. Immediately, Mr. Sterling. The table went dead silent. Julian's mouth hung open. Sterling? What, Mark? What is that? I waited until the transaction was cleared. I signed the slip with a flourish and handed it back. The meal is covered, I announced to the table. They started to cheer. They started to reach out to pat my back, their faces shifting from contempt to sudden greasy adoration. I knew you were a shark, Julian shouted, reaching for my shoulder. I stepped back, avoiding his touch. I said the meal is covered, I repeated, my voice cold and flat. But I didn't say it was covered for you. I looked at the waiter. I am the majority shareholder of the hospitality group that owns this building, I said loudly, and I'd like to report a group of individuals who are harassing the guests. The waiter nodded. Of course, sir. Wait, what are you doing? Julian stammered, standing up. The bill is paid, I said, leaning in close to his face. But the family table is closed. You can all finish your wine on the sidewalk. Security will show you the way. I turned to the waiter. Refund the amount to my card for everyone except myself. Then call the police for a dine and dash if they don't produce the funds in 5 minutes. I picked up my coffee cup, walked to the door, and paused. The patio is actually quite nice, Julian, I said, but you're right. Success likes to be with success. And right now, you're looking pretty lonely. I walked out into the cool night air, leaving the sound of their screaming excuses behind me.